It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the travel plug. I am Chimangazo. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. I hope you stay permanent. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. So in today's video, we are going to talk about all things international travel. So I am going to be more focused on international travel in terms of flights, departure, and things like that, right? And also what you need to know before you plan an international vacations. What you need to know before you book an international flight, right? So the first thing that you have to do, right, is research the country that you're visiting. So you need to research their rules, their regulations. What happens if you get arrested? What can you be arrested for? Because you know, countries are not the same, right? You'll find that things that you can get away with in your country, you might not get away with them in another country. So you need to research the country that you are visiting to make sure that you know the do's and don'ts of that country. That's the first step, right? The second step, you need to decide when you want to go visit. Which season? Do you want to go there in winter? Do you want to go in summer? And what is the purpose of your visit? Is it are you going there as a tourist, or are you going there for a specific reason, basically, right? And then after that, you need to research the cost of living in that country. The budget that you have, is it going to be enough to sustain you for the duration of your stay in the country, right? After you have researched that, then accommodation, food, and things like that, then you'll be able to plan that accordingly, right? First thing first, the difference between traveling internationally from the local travel by flights, right? So in my last video, I talked mostly about local travel. So when it comes to international travel, the rules differ from local travel, because over and above, you are going to need a passport for that. So you're not going to leave your country without a passport, and you're not going to enter another country without a passport. And in some countries, depending on which country you come from, you will be required to have a visa over and above your passport, right? So the first thing that you're going to do, depending on when you're going to travel, if you don't already have a passport, you need to go and apply for a passport at your local authority. So a passport, basically, it's like an international identity document that can be used to identify you when you are outside your country, right? So after you have applied the passport, from your research, whatever country you are visiting, you would have found out if people coming from your country are required to have a visa to visit that specific country, right? So for example, if let's say wherever you're visiting, you're not required to have a visa, especially if you are an African. If you are from an African country and you're visiting another African country, in most cases you're only required to have a passport, right? So in that case, the only thing that you're gonna have to worry about is knowing the rules of the country, the do's and don'ts and things like that. Then the next step that you're gonna do, also, if you can refer to my previous video, the one for local travel, you're gonna search for flights. So the procedure is not that different when it comes to searching for flight. The only difference is that now it's international flights, right? So you're gonna follow the same procedure of searching the flights using whatever app or internet whatever app or whatever website that you have found. But the Travelstart one still works even better. You look for your flights, you follow the same steps that I explained in the local travel, right? After you have found the flight that you are looking for, if let's say the country you're visiting does not require a passport, then depending on your budget, you can go ahead and purchase your ticket. So you have purchased your ticket now, and the date of your departure is arriving. The difference between the international travel from the local travel is that now you don't need to be at the airport 90 minutes before the flight. Now you need to be at the airport 3 hours before the flight, because the boarding gates for international travel actually close earlier than the boarding gates for local travel. So you need to be at the airport 3 hours before. Same procedure, you look for the counter of the airline that you are traveling on. You do your check-in. If you have checked in online already, you do your bag drop-off. you go to your customs. The custom for international travel is not the same as the custom for local travel. So there might be some 1 or 2 things that are similar. They're still gonna check your bag and things like that. But the difference is that with local travel, you are allowed to pass through the customs with any liquids. Even over a 500 milliliter, you are allowed. Whereas for international travel, I don't know what the standard is at the moment, because I have not traveled internationally in the last 2 years. But the last time I traveled internationally, you are not allowed to have any liquid which is more than 50 milliliter in your luggage, right? So if you have anything that is more than 50 milliliter, I can advise you to put it in your check-in luggage so that it can be checked in. The check-in luggage is like the big bag that you will check in, and you will find it at your arrival destination. So your hand luggage, don't put any liquids over more than 50 milliliters. So I don't know, I'm not sure if the regulations have changed, but if they haven't, yeah, you should not put anything more than 50 milliliter on your hand luggage. The procedure for weapons is the same. You can't have any metals, you can't have any scissors, you can't have any guns, you can't have any knives, you can't have forks, anything that can be regarded as a weapon, anything that a person can use as a weapon to harm another person. You are not allowed to have that thing on your hand in luggage, right? So now you have gone through customs, they've checked you, they've checked your passport, you are on your way to your boarding gate, and you should enjoy your flight. Remember the rules that I mentioned in the first video where I'm talking about local travel. It's all the same. You're gonna have to enjoy yourself in the flight. I know sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, but just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride. So let's say, for instance, you are traveling in a country where you are required a visa. So don't go ahead and just purchase a ticket, guys, without having a visa, because with some countries, it can take up to 3 months or more for you to get your visa back. So imagine you want to visit a certain country that requires a visa in 3 months' time, and you decided to go ahead and purchase the flight ticket without knowing if you might be approved for a visa or not. Because remember, especially with European countries, over and above you having a visa, you also need to have some proof of finances in your bank account. There's a certain limit that you need to have. Like, so you need to have at least a certain amount of money in your bank account while you are applying for a visa, to prove that for the duration of the trip, when you are in that country, you will be able to take care of yourself, and the country won't have to take care of you. So you need to make sure that you qualify for all those things before you go ahead and purchase the ticket, because a lot of tickets, unless you bought it flexible tickets, they are non-refundable, so you won't be able to get it back. Even if maybe you try to get it back, you might get maybe a certain percentage of it back, but you won't get the full amount back, right? So for example, I can talk about my experience. I've been to Europe. Most countries in Europe I have been. So in this video, when I talk about international travel, I might refer to Europe a lot, right? So with Europe, especially in the Eastern Europe side, right, you're gonna need a Schengen visa. So the Schengen visa is actually a visa that you will need in order to enter the European Union countries. So the European Union countries include France, Italy, Austria, what else? Germany, Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Norway, Sweden, like a whole lot of those countries. You can use that one visa to access all of those countries. That's the nice thing I like about Europe, because you can apply for a visa to go to France, but you can still use that visa in any other country for the duration, for as long as it's still valid for travel. You can use it at any country. You can use it in Germany, you can use it in Italy, you can use it in Spain, wherever you can do that, right? So there are a lot of requirements for applying for a Schengen visa. You need to prove that you have enough means in your bank account to take care of yourself within that specific time period that you'll be visiting that specific country, right? And I think they also, I don't know if they still do that now, but they might also want to know your criminal history and things like that. Because I remember when I visited Europe, or rather when I moved to Europe, because I stayed there for like almost 6 years, right? I was there on a student visa. So we had to do medicals, we had to do criminal record checks, we had to do what else? Like, we had to do a whole bunch of things. So you need to know your visa requirement before purchasing a flight ticket so that you don't lose that money, right? Once you have purchased your flight ticket, once you have applied for your also you also need to prove where you're gonna stay when you arrive there. So this might be in the form of a bank, of a hotel where you're going to be staying and things like that, right? So now you are ready to travel. The day comes, still the same. 3 hours before the flight, you need to be at the airport. You need to make sure that you don't have any hazardous items in your handling luggage. In your hand luggage, you need to make sure that you don't have any liquids that is more than 50 ml. And guys, I know it's hard. You know, sometimes when you are in your country, you are so free to do as you like because you know the rules and you know which things that are not acceptable you can get away with. But I can advise you, when you are traveling internationally or when you are in a foreign country, please try to behave as best as possible, because you don't want to find yourself where you are arrested in that country and you don't know what happens to you when you are arrested. And also, this is one of the things that you should research. You should research, God forbid, what happens if I get arrested in a certain countries? What happens? What are their criminal rules and things like that, right? You need to know those things before you travel. So guys, I hope this video was helpful for you in terms of international travel. It's not that different from local travel. The only difference is that you are visiting a different country and the rules are different and countries are not the same. And you need to, when you are in their country, you need to live by their rules. You don't just go to other people's countries and think you're going to act how you act when you are in your country. So yes, I hope this video was helpful. See you in my next video. Don't forget to leave comments below. Ask any possible questions, and yeah, we'll continue to have fun in this channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Ciao.